Let's talk. Tell me what's on your mind. What led up to this before you were mine? I wanna understand you and know you inside out. So let's talk. Let's talk about you.
Hey everybody, it's Kat, and I want to welcome you to this episode of Backstory Sessions. I'm joined today by my co-host Willie. Hey Willie.
Hey, Kat, how are you?
I'm doing well, and you know what? Today's guest, he has done what I would say only a small fraction of people on the earth have done.
Okay.
I know that doesn't narrow it down because
Well,
that
I
could
was
be
going to say there's a million things in the world that this person could have done.
yes. Well, he has traveled to every country in the world.
Wow.
Every country in the world. And so,
Impressive.
it is impressive. And I think, people are envious of that, of, having the time and the means and just the opportunities to go and see the world, literally the whole world, I mean,
Yeah,
it's amazing. So,
it is.
em- besides passports and, all of that, airports and all the things, the steps you have to go through to fly, you know, I want to hear about the people, the culture,
Hmm.
the foods, those kinds of things. What are you interested in finding out?
The language barrier.
Okay, that is a great one. Well, let's bring our guest and introduce him and find our answers to some of these questions that we have.
Okay.
All right, today we have with us, as I said, someone who has done, this is not a small feat, listeners, Brandon Wood. Brandon, welcome to Backstory Sessions, and thank you for being our guest.
For having Pat and Willie, and it's an honor to be here. And I look forward to having a casual conversation with you both and answering your questions and the questions of your listeners, and just being able to kind of paint a picture, if you will.
Well, fascinating. So, um, what age, did you develop this interest in seeing the world? Has that always been something that's fascinated you, or did it happen later in life, or what?
It happened later in life. Of course, as I was growing up, I can recall, always the thrill and the wanting to travel. But it wasn't until my mom passed away in 2007 that I really kind of got immersed into it and started with my very first carrier. It was a regional airline called Republic Airlines, and that kind of gave me the taste of being able to travel and see, just the United States, then in Canada, and being after that, then I just kind of kept on moving up into different other airlines that gave me a little bit more power, and eventually getting on with two international carriers that was able to give me even more flexibility, both doing assignments and doing personal travel for myself.
So Canada was your first other country that you visited. So what was your first impression of that?
I really liked Canada. Honestly, it's definitely a different vibe and different atmosphere really than the U.S. There's some things that are similar, but really I kind of felt more welcomed there. There was just a lot more friendly circles and groups. I know sometimes when you can kind of go to large group events, here in the U.S., sometimes you can run across some people that are more accepting and more willing to talk with you. But in Canada, one thing that I noticed was there really was not, I call them cliques, and there wasn't really many clicky types there. It was just a very loving area, and just something that I really, really craved. And I've been to many parts of Canada. I've been to Toronto, Ontario, Ottawa, and all kinds of different places there in Canada.
Well, I can say that Newfoundland is also very friendly. So, that's great. I'm sure Canada appreciates, that they're the kind words that you had. All right. So, you went to Canada. You changed to another airline that went outside of the U.S. more frequently. Is that what happened next?
So basically, we had represented three different of the large carriers, and but basically you didn't get the international benefit with that carrier. But these other carriers, once I got hired on with larger carriers like Southwest, Delta, and let's see, Frontier. Frontier wasn't as big, but still I was able to do a lot more travel with some of my benefits that I had with those companies.
All right. So, the first trip that you made, what, besides the friendly people, what stuck out to you the most?
It just general travel, or are we still talking about Canada? Or
Still talking about Canada.
so basically, I think just the different types of architecture, and the people, of course, and then the food. There was just a lot of different styles of food that maybe are less common here. Different. I'm a big soup person, and I can remember eating various soups when I was there that just were really flavorful. A lot of herbs and spices that are not used here as common. They're just they're a little bit more creative there as far as with their recipes and being able to experiment. And I just really enjoyed the food. I guess you can call me a foodie.
Well, I know Willie had a question about the language barrier, and certainly in Canada too, you could run into French or, other languages. So, Willie, what did you want to know about that?
First of all, yes. How did you interact with somebody that didn't speak English? I mean, did you have to learn different languages to be able to communicate?
So there is no requirement with the airlines, in particular, to learn a different language. However, I took Spanish in high school, so I was not totally fluent in Spanish, but I could understand basic things. And so just being able to get and navigate around there, ride a taxi in different areas that may be Spanish speaking, I can definitely do that. When there was those obstacles, like you said, Willie, what I would use is technology to my advantage. I would use Google Translate, and either if I wanted to say something, I would tell it to say it in their native language, or a lot of times people understand using the Google Translate, and you can have them speak into it, and it will convert it into English. So I try to use technology to my advantage when I'm in situations like that, and it can be really helpful to navigate those language barriers, and also sometimes diffuse different situations. I know when speaking on the same token of language here, sometimes when you're on the airline and it's a full flight of non-speaking travelers, you may even have one flight attendant that can speak their native language, and they may be busy. So being able to use that technology in the air can sometimes diffuse situations. Like if there's two passengers that are fighting or something like that, you can use those tools to your benefit and be able to maybe try to de-escalate situations to where make things more safe and more enjoyable for all the travelers.
I mean, did you find that often where people were, arguing or having conflicts?
I did, and there were several times where I couldn't get the Google Translate out fast enough to kind of see what's going on here. So anyway, but I've always been a firm believer and a firm promoter of being able to communicate with others, even if you don't speak their language. Being able to use tools like that to be able to figure out what the problem is, what you can do to solve it, and just getting to the root of the problem. Because I think every problem has a solution, and that's the way I try to approach everything in my life.
Well, what did you find were common reasons they might be fighting? Is it just because they're tired, or is it over who gets the window seat, or, what is it about?
You'll laugh at this. Sometimes it was over the silliest things. The lady in front of me has too poofy of a hair. The lady in front of me has an odor that I don't care for. The lady, or the guy in front of me keeps on, emitting these foul old odors and stuff, and it happens. It's just you're
Oh my gosh.
in that enclosed space, and you're just getting all these people with different personalities, different arguments, and different things like that. Things that not everybody's going to ever get along, but it's very important to maintain peace, especially when you're in that enclosed environment, because one little thing can kind of blow up on you. And but sometimes people are just ultra sensitive to things like that, and they make a big deal about it. Now, a lot of times you can move seats, have them move seat, but when it's a full flight, you're not able to do that so freely, and you're just going to have to find other people that are willing to trade, different things like that. So there's always solutions to things, but that's the most common thing. The biggest one is children kicking the seats. Uh, so a lot of times, mommy and daddy will let the children kick the seat all they want, and the person in front of them is probably getting a headache from being kicked so much. So a lot of times the person in front is going to complain, obviously, that their seat is being kicked, and if they're a different speak a different language, then you have another element that you're having to figure out and try to diffuse the situation in two different languages at the same time. So being able to definitely multitask is very important, especially in that industry.
So after Canada, where was the next country that you got to go to?
London, England, and I've been to Paris. I love the Eiffel Tower. I've seen it in various other places here in America too, where we've got like amusement parks. They'll have replicas of the Eiffel Tower or different things like that. But really, once you see the real thing, nothing really compares. I mean, there's really good attempts, but Las Vegas is another example where Eiffel Tower exists. But there's just nothing like having the Paris Eiffel Tower experience. But they're in Australia, Sydney, Australia. Ooh, that's probably one of my favorite places to go. I just love the Australian atmosphere, and just the whole vibe there is just talk about food. Back to our food topic, the food is just, gosh, I love any kind of uh, food that's just not the norm, not what we have all the time here. Being able to have experienced all the different countries and their delicacies and their food. I mean, there's things that I found out later that was like something I probably would have never even wanted to eat. And things like that. But it was a delicacy where in those countries, that it's just. But then you just kind of say, well, I didn't get sick, so it's. I try to look at the positives of everything if I can.
Did you have a Vegemite sandwich?
Yes, I have.
So it's really salty, I'm told. Did you like it?
My taste buds didn't like it at first because it was extremely salty. I still remember that taste When I first like, I was like, ugh. But then once I let my taste buds kind of work their magic and try to, say, well, you need to just embrace this and try to, just enjoy the experience. And once you do, you just kind of roll with it. And of course, China and different places like that, in Japan. I have several friends that are from those areas, and they've been able to kind of give me the local, I call it the local experience. They'll take me to the different types of eateries they have there, and just a totally different experience. I mean, the it's just different. I mean, America has totally Americanized a lot of the ethnic foods and different things like that. They try to replicate it, and they do a pretty decent job here. But there's just nothing like the eating it in the original country that it was, kind of created in.
So, was there a point where, like, did you keep like a map and highlight the countries, or, was there some point where you made it a goal, I am gonna go to all of them?
Yeah. That was probably early on in my flight attendant career. I just basically, there was an app called, I want to say it was FlightAware or something like that, and you could literally do these little red pins everywhere you've been. And I used to subscribe to it, and it kept my map for years. I think I may have screenshotted it, and I'll share that with you if I can locate it. But it showed all the pins where I'd been, and it looked like a kid had taken a crayon and just colored all over it with zigzags, because it shows your to and from and back and forth, and just goes all over the place. But it's kind of neat just to kind of look and say, wow, I did all that. And I have been to every state here in America. I have been in many of the territories and in Canada, and I've been to, like I said, every country in the world. And the longer I was in the industry, the more different places I was going to and from those countries, and just experiencing even more of the aspects of each and every one of those places. But every place was different. I mean, they have small places like where we live here, and there's larger metropolitan places, kind of like Lexington and Louisville and all those places. But they all pretty much have similar types of things, in their home countries and things like that. But I always try to embrace myself in their culture and in their world. Me just being an outsider and just trying to learn all that I could about their local trends and local. I tried to blend in the best I could. Of course, I obviously look like a tourist everywhere I go because I'm just, kind of, I'm a big nerd, so so I kind of stick out wherever I'm at. But that's the thing I embrace about myself, and it never hurts to ask questions. It never hurts to, when you're not familiar with where you're at, to ask, and things like that. Now, the airlines can be dangerous too. I mean, there were times where I did feel security was, a threat, but most of the time I was with other people. But still, with traveling alone, you don't have that luxury, and sometimes you just have to always be aware of your surroundings.
So, where did you, like, what are some countries where you maybe felt that you needed to be extra aware?
I would say Tokyo was probably one of them that I did not, and there were some places in near Germany that it was just, you really had to watch your back in some of those areas. Nothing against those areas, but I think sometimes the airlines would drop us in different areas that maybe they thought might have been safe, but once you kind of get out and explore, it's just, if you don't have anybody else with you, it can be unsafe if you're in certain parts of their area that may not have good police protection or different things to that nature. But Africa There's I just remember a lot of, that one you didn't have a lot of the luxuries, that we're used to, but there's still a hotel. I mean, as long as if you didn't feel safe in an area, a lot of times you can even opt to just stay near your hotel. A lot of times the hotels they put you in were really nice, and you could make the best of your situation. And just a lot of times the hotel will have your restaurants that you need, and if you had other people with you, then you could venture out and explore. But I like doing things in groups. I very rarely did things on my own, but unless I felt really safe. Where I was, attacked on a layover once, I decided that, I would never take my safety for granted anymore, and just basically decided that, it's better to be safe than be attacked for sure.
So, what country did that happen in?
Uh, that was let me think. Mexico.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
Interesting. I mean, was that scary? I imagine.
Yes, it was very scary, and luckily I wasn't too far away from the hotel, so I just basically just started. Well, I think I ran. I think I was that scared that I was not going to put myself in danger. So I decided that I would just kind of find myself a safe spot, and luckily I wasn't too far away. And yeah, I just think that yeah, I definitely had some people watching over me for sure. So
All right. So, besides people, and conflicts and being scared in that way, what about like the terrain or animals or things like that? Um, because I'm sure you encountered things that you don't encounter every day here. So,
uh, and like in Australia, the kangaroos,
did you
it,
get punched by one? I have to know. Did they kick you?
well, one came pretty close to it. Yeah, they're very territorial animals, and but they're so fun to watch, and especially with the other kangaroos and different aspects of their interactions with others. But yeah, I got to see their pouches, and and it was just neat, to see, like, you see things in cartoons that kind of show all those different animals and different aspects of it. But yeah, just seeing the nature of the the habitat in those areas was pretty interesting. Australia is probably the most obvious one because they have different types of animals because of the climate. But there were other places that I was able to get out and see various different animals. Of course, some of the breeds of dogs that are more common, like in the England area. When I was near the palace of where the Queen was living, she was always a big fan of corgis, and there was just a lot of corgis around. I think because of a lot of people did very similar things, to what the Queen and the royal family did. So.
Um, what was the most unique food that you
Hmm.
that you tried, or was there something you almost didn't try?
I would say um, didn't try. I've always tried to at least try something at least once. So that answers that question. But the most unique types of food probably would be different, you know, ethnic dishes. Like when I was with my friends in Japan and different things like that. A lot of times their parents would make a different these huge meals, and just kind of learning more about kind of what they enjoy and what they like. There is one delicacy I believe in, I want to say Mexico, that's the cow's tongue, Um, I never tried that just because of hearing cow's tongue. But I just kind of, I didn't really, I was not brave enough. So I regret not trying that because I've been told that it's very, very good. But just pretty much everything that sounded good to me, I would always try. Um, but like I said, I'm a big soup guy, so they're big on soups over in England, and I always enjoyed trying their soups and different things like that. But I can't pinpoint an exact meal, but just everything has always been really good that I've tried. A lot of times the hotels would put us at places that they would try to Americanize things, because they knew that a lot of the tourists would be staying there. But I always tried to venture out to some of the local places and try to use my Google Translate if they didn't speak my language, and be able to try their local dishes. And I would literally write on my Google Translate, what do you recommend? What's something that a lot of the local people will eat? And a lot of times they would just surprise me, and I would go to town on it, and just enjoy the dish and enjoy the culture.
All right, Willie, what do you got? Maybe he has left us. There he is, I think.
No,
All right.
no, I'm here. Uh, what was your favorite country?
Favorite one probably would be Australia. I loved everything about it. It kind of just felt like you were so far away. Of course, I love the culture and the atmosphere, the people, and like Kat touched on a moment ago, the animals. Seeing things that a lot of people never get the opportunity to see in Australia. The climate was unique. But yeah, I'm a foodie, so I definitely love trying some of the different dishes. But it's just you would only typically get about 20, 40, 48 hours when I was on assignment, and so you have to really kind of hit the ground running and get everything that you want to go to. And it's best to do that with a group. But like if I went on personal travel, I would usually always make sure that I knew a friend or had a friend, just because it's a little bit safer to do that, and to kind of be able to have that better security around you. But yeah, I would say definitely Australia and Canada are probably my two favorites. But yeah, I like all of them. It's just there's something different in all of them. Now my family is naturally, we have a German heritage, so I was really interested in going to Germany, just because that's where my family's heritage is from.
Okay.
So, what do you think is a country that everyone should visit at least, once in their life?
Let's see. I would say, um, well, obviously England, and uh, even South America. South America's got some pretty unique places, and different things to see, and um, it's just different. It's a polar opposite, really, of around here. As far as that, and just a general day-to-day living, but just seeing the different ways people live, and embracing their culture and embracing what they live, and comparing it to what we have. We're very blessed to live in a country, and we're truly free, and being in different parts of the country, you are able to see a lot of people don't have the luxuries that we have here, and it's just kind of putting yourself in their shoes, and being able to experience what they experience, and again humbling yourself, where you know um, sometimes I always think about people that try to sometimes the entitlement where they feel like their culture is best, different things like that. But when you go to different countries, you're on their territory. So, just kind of embracing it like that and being able to put yourself in their shoes and just enjoying your time, there in a different country and a different, culture. You touched on it earlier, Kat, but the culture is huge in every country, and it's going to be different. Nothing's ever going to be the same, but to being able to just kind of learning more of different people's culture and how they live. Africa was probably a great example of it because, a lot of times there's places of Africa that don't have running water and different things like that. Things that luxuries we're used to here, but it's just there's a lot to be thankful for, really, for what we have here in America.
Did you ride in a rickshaw?
I did not. I had a friend that did, and but I did not get an opportunity to. A lot of times, my layovers in those areas were real limited because I was a junior flight attendant, so I didn't really get an opportunity to do a lot of the things that I wanted to. And now that I'm out of the industry, I don't get to travel to those areas much. But at least I was able to do it at least once or twice, and but no, it's something I always, like you said, regrets. That's probably one of my regrets that I didn't get to ride one.
Um, was there anything funny that happened in your travels that that you could share with us?
Well, my Google Translate got mixed up one time, and I think that I was trying to tell it something to tell them something in their native language, and it had it all messed up. It had me saying something. It sounded really stupid, probably on their end, but like something like the pizza's on top of the moon or something like that. And and so they looked at me like, "What is this guy talking about?" Something alien or something.
Willie, what do you think if you were using that translator?
With my hillbilly dialect, it's it's untelling what they think I was saying.
And you know what's funny, Willie and Kat? They have this new. Uh, they've adapted this Google Translate so much to different people's dialects and different things like that. They actually have a bluegrass download that you can uh, and you have to download air kind of dialect and our the way we talk, and sometimes it's pretty precise. Uh, so, like sometimes my Apple doesn't have a clue when I was talking it, and I said, call so and so, and it'll say, "Are you trying to call like Walmart?" And I said, "No, I didn't even say anything close to Walmart." It's something like or uh, it's just I think sometimes Apple is definitely not updated enough to where it understands their dialect, but things like Google always tries to improve and get better, and I think they are trying to at least improve in that area.
Did you ever consider moving abroad?
I did. At one point, I did actually I thought about Canada, honestly, just because I liked it so much. But I have a lot of family here, and at the time, my my mom was, you know, uh, she was just not doing good with her health, and I didn't really want to get too far away. But when she passed away, I seriously considered it. It's just that. Thinking about it and doing it was two totally different things, and I never was really in a position financially where I really could just kind of sell off all my stuff and then start all over again. And sometimes like when we reach a certain point in our lives where you have so much established in a certain area, it's kind of hard sometimes to restart somewhere else. But you can always live in a fantasy land. Like, oh, maybe things could have been different, or you can what if things to death, I think, sometimes, but it will sometimes it'll drive you crazy if you do. But I just try to enjoy each day and be thankful for my friends like you and Willie, and in our group that we are involved with, and just being able to enjoy life to its fullest.
So, for friendly and happy people like Sweden, Denmark, those countries have been ranked high as happy. People happy in those countries. So, did you experience that? Is that where you met the happiest people, or?
Yes, actually, my cousin married one of them. Denmark is a place that is really close to my heart. It's just a really really great place. His name is Pierre. He's married to my cousin Amber, but they met each other, I believe, when they were in school in college, and he was abroad studying with her, and then they just connected, and then they married. And now they've had a little boy, but shared like movies and stuff with from like when he grew up, and so we were able to see a lot more of the historical side of Denmark. But we've I've been over there once to visit when they were there, and just got to see a lot more of the local themes, and just being able to enjoy the different like you said, culture a moment ago. Just it's different, and their dialect is way different, but it's really meaningful. And that's one thing that I can remember about his father was he just recently passed away, but he was just such a kind soul, and very sweet spirit, just like his son. And his son's definitely doing a great job carrying on his legacy.
Um, did you find that, like, did anybody share with you that their view of Americans, and maybe that you were different than they thought you would be?
Yeah, he always said that when he grew up, they basically didn't understand us really. But then kind of when I was able to be introduced to them, and you know uh, kind of not intrude myself on them, but kind of being able to talk one on one with them, and so they could know a little bit more about different aspects of how I grew up and different things like that, and how it really was pretty comparable, to a lot of things they experienced, and being able to kind of mismatch the stories, and just being able to kind of get those social differences out of the picture that they had basically grown up with. And yeah, I did notice that, but I think that being able to have that interactions, was really important, because they were able to see, that we're all pretty much the same. We just live in different parts of the world.
So, if you could only choose one country to go to of all the countries now that you've seen them all, um, which would you choose?
Australia.
And that kangaroo probably would get you this time, I think. Oh, did you see a koala?
I did, and I held one. Uh,
You what?
held one. We went on this
Oh,
little thing, and the zookeeper or the person that was trained with the animal, they basically said, "Do you want to hold it?" And I said, "Yeah, just tell me what to do." so,
Aw.
so I could hold it, and they're just such a loving little animal, and they're well, to me, it reminded me of just kind of like a big teddy bear that just comes to life, uh, that is what it felt like, and just hearing or feeling its heartbeat, and just kind of just the big grand scheme of things, how the animals, how they're created, and um, just the miracle of life. You know how it goes. We sang tonight the circle of life from the Lion King,
There you
uh,
go.
so
yep,
it's come full circle, in
most human.
conversation. Exactly, Willie. I totally.
All right, Willie. What else are you wondering about the world?
Well, I know you've mentioned Australia a lot, but if you had a chance to visit one again, beside a country besides Australia again, which one? are you picking?
Hmm. Probably go back to Germany because I really did not get to spend a whole lot of time there, even though that's where my family was originated. And I think that I would like to learn more about it, maybe in more travels to it. But I would say probably Germany.
Okay.
Well, Willie,
I lived in Germany for like 3 years, but I don't remember anything about it because I was a baby.
Oh, wow. Was your dad in the military or?
He was in the guards.
Okay. Well,
He was stationed there.
thank you for your service. My dad was in the Air Force, so
all right,
But I have
let's.
pictures,
oh,
Yes, Willie does have some. He was adorable there.
and I've got pictures of the wherever they were at in Germany. I don't know one city from the next, but yeah, I do have pictures.
I have to show you the ones I got from my dad too. Of course, I've got some in my photo gallery. I'll have to I haven't find them, but I'll send those to you as well. Since both of you all, and that way you can kind of see what I've seen and see some of my dad's history too from when he was in the military there.
Awesome.
Great.
All right, this has been very interesting. It's a great way to,
And
learn about places.
I felt like I've just been traveling right along with you
Well, you all are
without even leaving.
you'll be my fellow flight attendants in charge, and I'm just glad to have you my awesome crew here with me. So
Well, we're gonna end it kind of with a rapid fire. So I'm gonna give you something. You just tell us the first answer that, pops in your mind. Where was the best street food?
street food would be I would probably say China.
All right, best coffee.
Uh, Germany.
Best dessert, and what was it?
Hmm. There was a dish in Australia that was just it was a pineapple uh, dessert. I don't remember what it was called, but it was just a pineapple dessert, and it was just phenomenal. It just had the best tasting ever.
The longest flight.
The longest flight would probably be Australia.
Yeah,
Um,
I was thinking that might
Yeah.
be it. The most difficult border crossing. Did you have any encounter any problems with that?
No, not really. The biggest one I've ever had was Mexico, and that was just something right in our backyard here, basically, on the bottom side of our country. But there was something. There was a issue I had with my passport or something, and basically, he misread it. And I guess he didn't have his glasses on, or the person that was looking at the passport, and that was the most difficult. But really, it was just a clerical thing, and once I got everything figured out and was able to figure out what was going on, I was able to help the gentleman and kind of you know told him that everything was exactly as it should have been. So
What's your favorite airport and least favorite?
here in our nation, I would say the San Francisco would be my favorite, and least favorite would be um, Pittsburgh because it's barely anything. Uh,
Everybody hates Pittsburgh.
yes, it's always kind of been it's gotten a pretty low rep.
I
Uh,
love you, Pittsburgh, so don't think it's all of us.
well, I always have a heart too, even though I
Yeah.
didn't care for it, I still, there's still parts of it I did like, but it's just the way it's laid out is a little unique. But as far as the different countries, I would say London, England probably was my favorite airport, abroad.
All right. And after seeing all the countries on Earth, what have you learned about people?
that we, and this is kind of going back to what I mentioned earlier, but that we're all, created by the big man upstairs. We all have differences. We are all pretty much the same. There's just different parts that, we may all have different skin color. We may have different hairstyles. We may have different eye colors. We may have different, but really we're all made the same. We just have different areas that we live in this world. And I think that that's one of the things that I try to always keep in the back of my mind is everyone's special in their own way. And I think that just being able to keep that open mind and always just loving one another and loving everything about the person, sometimes even when that person may be angry at you, it's just keeping that love strong, being able to show it to others and being able to be a light for others, I think is most important.
If everyone had to or had the opportunity to travel and see the world as you have, um, how do you think that would change the perspective?
I think it would change it a lot because I think it would open a lot of people's eyes up to different way people live. It would open up their eyes also to some of the luxuries that maybe we have in our country that other countries may not have. The freedoms, the just really it kind of shows full circle, what's really important about life, and that is, just loving one another and being able to just enjoy life to its fullest because none of us are ever going to be here for any long period of time. And it's just being able to embrace everyone and just enjoy the experiences of life are the most important, in my opinion.
So, if someone listening has never traveled internationally, where would you recommend that they start?
I would recommend still telling them start small. Maybe go, research the country that's always interested you. Find what works for your budget, and being able just to, get out and explore and enjoy. Life's too short to not do that. But start small. Mexico, is a great, as long as you go to the right places in Mexico. Usually Puerto Vallarta is a pretty touristy spot, and I think that it can be a good place to start because a lot of times they have different resorts there that are pretty much you would never need to leave the resort. They're all inclusive, so it basically has little bars you can have drinks at, and there's certain things you got to keep in mind when you go to those countries too, like you can't drink their natural water because they don't have the filtration systems like we have here in America. So you always have to stay on the hotel property, stay on drinking the hotel water, or you will get sick. And just keeping all that in mind. But Canada is another great spot, up to our north that they can start, and it would be an easy travel. There are so many flights that go in and out of there each and every day, and it's a real easy process to when you get on your plane to be able to talk with your flight attendants, and flight attendants can help you with the paperwork, doing all custom paperwork and everything like that. So they'll always be there to help you and try to help you with the big process of things.
All right, Willie, I have one last question. Do you have anything else you'd like to find out before we?
I think he's covered all of it.
All right, Brandon, so what I want to know is, you've met like what most people might put on their bucket list. So what's on your bucket list to do still?
Uh, I would say skydiving. I've wanted to skydive for as long as I can remember. I've always been a big roller coaster fan. I love roller coasters and the thrills of roller coasters. But the skydiving is different because, really all you have is the parachute. And, just being able to just let it all go and, jump out of a plane. I just think it would be something definitely on my bucket list.
So when do you think this might happen?
I would say at least within the next maybe 5 to 10 years. It's my goal. Uh,
All right, Willie, we got to be there when this happens and film it for the listeners.
yes,
Yes.
and I think it would be a great idea to strap you all on with me, and we can all have a triple.
I think I'll be
I,
filming. I'm
yeah,
not
I think I'll stay on the ground.
I'm not gonna be jumping out of a plane.
No, no.
Bring my buddies along, but
I'll be your birthday buddy filming you. How's that?
fellow Scorpios unite for sure.
Yes. Well, it's been a pleasure to learn, so much about the countries and your experience visiting. And you know, I think a lot of the listeners will um at least think about traveling internationally if they haven't done that a lot, um, based on your experiences. So thank you for sharing those. And summer's a great time to um, get out and explore, even if it's within the US, right?
It is, and there's so many different destinations you can go to right here in the U.S. And you can sometimes go to off-peak times for international travel, and the prices are a little bit less. So a lot of times people they make the mistake sometimes when they travel, and they go during what's called red weeks, which red weeks are going to be very costly. So if you can kind of put an alert on your phone when you go to start looking for prop flights that are out in other countries, it'll let you know basically on those different travel apps when the tickets can go down, and it can kind of help you be able to travel more and do the more things that you've always wanted to do with travel.
Well, good to know because we all like saving money and
Yeah.
we also like shopping. I have to ask, where's the best place to shop?
Oh,
Where are the deals?
the well, internationally, I'm a big fan of Paris. There's just a lot of really nice shops and different things that you can kind of get that are just centric to there. Also, and different things like China and different things like that. And you see a lot of that in America too. Where they'll have Chinatown or different things like that. They try to replicate that here, but there's just nothing like the real thing in Tokyo. Being able to see the various shops and the different local artists and artisan things that they create. I always like those handmade and homemade gifts because I think they're a lot more special.
What about for people planning a wedding abroad? Where's the best place to get married that, you feel like makes a beautiful ceremony?
I think there's been so many in Paris. There's just there's it's been a really common one, but some other ones that are maybe different and different, in a good way, would be like London, and being able to go near where the Buckingham Palace, in that general vicinity. There's some beautiful churches and different things there that can make great wedding venues and um, just some beautiful, beautiful things.
Did you kiss the Blarney Stone or did you go
I didn't,
near?
I didn't kiss it, but I took a picture next to it. Now I'll
Okay.
that one up.
Well, we will take what we can get and we'll look forward to that picture. So thank you again, Brandon Wood, for inspiring us all to
Thank
step
you.
outside of our comfort zone and get more acquainted with the circle of life, as you called it.
Yes, ma'am. And I just thank you both for having me. And if anybody ever has any questions, they can always feel free to contact me. But just really glad to have this opportunity. And thank you all for your time.
Thank you.